Born on June 12, 1929, Anne Frank experienced the rise of Nazi power in the Netherlands during World War II. In search of safety, her family moved to Amsterdam. But, in 1942, oppression forced them into hiding. They hid in her father Otto Frank's office. For 2 years, Anne Frank wrote in her diary, expressing her thoughts and experiences during the Nazi occupation. But in 1944, their hiding place was discovered, leading to their capture and transport to concentration camps. Anne died of typhus, a disease. Only her father, Otto Frank, survived. He found her diary and made it to publish. Let's see what she wrote in her diary.
Writing in a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me. Not only because I've never written anything before, but also because I don't think I or anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl.
Musing? Thinking?
Oh well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing. And I want to get all the things out of my chest. One day, I was sitting at my home and was feeling a little depressed and bored. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying. Finally, I stayed where I was, thinking, yes, paper does have more patience than people. And I'm not planning to let anyone else read this diary, unless I find a real friend. Now I am back to the point that made me to keep a diary. I don't have a friend. Let me put it more clearly. Since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in this world. And I am not. I have loving parents, sister, and about 30 friends. No, on the surface, it seems that I have everything, except one true friend. When I am with friends, I only think of having a good time. We don't seem to tell personal things, and that's the problem. This is why I've started to write a diary. I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary, the way most people would do. But I want the diary to be my friend. And I will call this friend Kitty. Since no one will understand my stories to Kitty, I'd better provide a brief sketch of my life. I dislike doing it, though. My father, Otto Frank, the most loving father I've ever seen, married my mother, Edith Hollander Frank, when he was 36, and she was 25. My sister, Margot, was 1926. And I was born in 1929. When I was 4. That is. In 1933, my father emigrated to Holland. In September, my mother went to Holland, and Margot went in December. In February, I went to Holland, when I was plunked down on the table, as a birthday present for Margot. I started at the Montessori nursery school. I stayed there until I was 6. In the 6th form, my teacher was Mrs. Copperas, the headmistress. She loved me so much. At the end of the year, we both were in tears, as we said a heartbreaking farewell. In 1941, Grandma fell ill, and had to have an operation. So, my birthday passed with a little celebration. And in January 1942, Grandma died. No one knows how much I think of her, and still love her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the previous, and Grandma's candle was also lit. The 4 of us are doing well. And that brings me to the present date, the 20th of June, 1942, and the dedication of my diary. Dearest Kitty. Our class is quaking in its boots. The reason is the forthcoming meeting, in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form, and who will be kept back. GN and I laughed at the 2 boys behind us, GN and Jax, who have staked their entire holiday saving on their bet. From day to night, it's
You're going to pass. No, I'm not. Yes, you're. No, I'm not.
If you ask me. There are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on the earth. I'm not so worried about my friends and myself. We'll make it. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. I have a pretty good relationship with my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men, and 2 women. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey maths teacher, was annoyed with me for ages, because I talked too much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework.
Anne. For your talking, I am assigning you extra homework. Write an essay on a chatterbox.
A chatterbox. What can you write about that? I would worry about that later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in the bag, and tried to keep quiet. In the evening, after I had finished the homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I was thinking about the subject, a chatterbox. Anyone could ramble on, and leave big spaces between words. But the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. I suddenly had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages, and was satisfied. In the essay, I argued that talking is a student's trait.
Trait, characteristic.
And that I would do my best to keep it under control. But that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit, since my mother talked as much as I did, and there's not much you can do about inherited traits. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I talked my way through the second lesson, he assigned me a second essay.
An essay on an incorrigible chatterbox.
Incorrigible, that can't be corrected.
I handed him the essay, and he didn't complain for 2 whole lessons. But during the 3rd lesson, he'd finally had enough.
Anne Frank. As punishment of talking in class, write an essay entitled Quack, 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 says Mistress Chatterbox.
I had to laugh too, though I nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes.
Ingenuity, creativity.
It was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend, Sane, who was good at poetry, helped me write the essay in verse. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I would make sure that the joke was on him. I finished my poem, and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings. The father bit them to death because they quaked too much. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments, and to several other classes as well. Since then, I've been allowed to talk, and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, he is making jokes these days. Yours? Anne.